Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Hassani Pettiford. You're watching the Couples Academy show. Good to have each and every one of you here this morning. We're excited. We are in this 28-day love challenge. I don't know if you've gotten started with it, but if you haven't, definitely register for it. Every single day, Danielle and I and people all over the world are taking an opportunity to express their love in a variety of different ways. And so every day you're given a prompting of what to do, because love is the foundation of a healthy, successful, long-lasting, mutually beneficial relationship. And oftentimes in the beginning of a relationship, the love is there. It is a feeling that we embrace. And over the course of time, when we experience challenges in our marriage, we feel like maybe the love is lost. And so this is a way of re-injecting love back into the relationship foundationally so that your marriage can experience a quantum leap. So we encourage you to check out that challenge, but we're also talking about love. And today we're in part 3 of our conversation on agape love. And so our topic is when love feels like a competition, dealing with spousal envy, which is a huge thing. But before we get started, Last Chance Weekend coming up this weekend, March 7th through the 9th. If you haven't registered, please reach out to us. We would love to have you. Also, take an opportunity to subscribe, like, and share. Become a part of the Couples Academy family. All you have to do is click that button and you get notified every time we go live. And if it's a great message, we encourage you to share it, comment, like it, because it lets the algorithm know that this is the type of information that you are interested in receiving. So we're happy about that. Listen, let's dive into today's conversation. We're talking about love. It comes from 1 Corinthians, where we're talking about God's qualities and characteristics of what love is. Let's go through that one more time. Love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy. It does not boast, it is not proud, it does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered, it keeps no records of wrong. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, it always trusts, it always hopes, it always perseveres. Love never fails. So today we're talking about how love does not envy. Interestingly enough, it's a weird thought to think that I'm married to someone who is jealous and envious of me, but we see that that is a real thing. When a couple doesn't have a healthy foundation, when there are issues that they brought into the relationship, when there are challenges that they've experienced within that relationship, oftentimes it can create envy, and it is a sign that something is obviously wrong. And so when you think about envy, let's give you a comprehensive definition of what this actually means. Now, envy is the feeling of jealousy or resentment towards someone because they have something that you desire, whether it's a possession, a quality, an achievement, or overall success. It involves a sense of dissatisfaction or longing for what others have, often accompanied by feelings of inadequacy or bitterness. Unlike admiration or inspiration, envy has a negative, possessive energy, where instead of wanting what someone else has for your own growth, you may wish for them to lose it or feel diminished. This is heavy. I have friends, when they experience successes and wins and have accomplishments, oftentimes I am happy for them. I am excited for them. I want more for them. And because I'm connected to them, I realize that, hey, I'm next in line. So when you win, it gives me hope and inspiration, and it allows me to see what is possible for me as well. So I'm encouraged in my own life because of what they're experiencing in their life. Even if I want what they have, it comes from a, wow, you were successful in that, man, I want that too. So it's an inspiring thing, an encouraging thing. That's why we say that peer pressure is real, whether good or bad. Just like there's negative peer pressure, there can be positive peer pressure, because when I'm in an environment of peers who are getting it and making it happen, I feel like, golly, it's time for me to get mine. See, that is a very healthy, encouraging thing. But there are also situations where, listen, you can be a part of a friend group, a peer group, a community where others are doing well, and you feel some type of way that every time they get a win, it's hard for you to celebrate. You know those individuals who, when you do something, they got some side comment, like they don't seem genuinely happy, or they're like, yeah, great for you, nice job. And you can see and feel the energy that they're really not authentically happy for you. Like oftentimes they begin to reevaluate their own life. They begin to question their own decisions. And then what happens is they say, well, good God, what's wrong with me? Like, so they begin to go into an emotional meltdown, and you got to console them over your success because they feel some type of way. Because oftentimes they're looking through lenses of inadequacy. And every time you succeed, it reminds them of their own failures, what they haven't done, what they haven't accomplished with their life. So then they start revisiting their whole entire life. And then sometimes it's too much for them, so they get quiet. So when they were once celebrating you, now they're quiet. Now they're just observing. Now they feel some type of way. And slowly but surely, they start backing away because they can't handle it. They just can't take it. Well, what about if you're married to that? What about if you're in a relationship with someone you've given your vows to? Someone who should be your number one cheerleader, your number one supporter, the one who's encouraging you and inspiring you, pushing you from the sideline, saying you can do it, you can get it. And they are the very ones who struggle with envy. That's a hard pill to swallow because marriage is about two people merging their lives together. It's about two individuals coming together who obviously had some type of physical attraction, emotional desirability. So you look good, you feel good. All of those things happen in a relationship, right? But it's not just celebrating the beauty of your partner, the body of your partner, but the brilliance of your partner. And brilliance shows up in a variety of different ways. It can show up in career. It can show up in parenting. It can show up in an ability to manage finances or take care of a home. Whatever the skill set is, I don't shrink because of your skill set. I actually win because of your skill set. I actually advance as a person, and we advance as a couple because of what you've accomplished and what you bring to the table. But if we're not in alignment, if we're not on the same page, if we're not going in the right direction together, I can oftentimes feel some type of way when you win. And I perceive your win as yours alone. And so when is it going to be my turn? And when are we going to do it for me? Well, maybe there are some deeper issues in the relationship that we need to deal with, or some deeper issues within you that we need to deal with that's causing this type of envy. So envy shows up in a variety of different ways. And so we want to talk about what are the different ways a person could be envious of their partner. So number one, I'm going to go through this list. When a person has achievements, we kind of talked about that, whether they be career success, I just got a promotion on my job, I just got a raise, oh my God, I come home to tell you how I just got a great write-up and a bonus and everybody's happy with, what I'm doing on the job. And so I'm bringing that to my spouse in excitement, but I'm not getting the energy back. It's just not being reciprocated for whatever reason. Maybe, guess what? The way that I've managed the finances, things are going very well. I made another wise decision when it came to an investment. And man, guess what? We just got back in return. Or maybe there's some social recognition. I just got an award, right? I got to go to a dinner because they're honoring me. And so as a spouse who should be in the front row seat as a cheerleader cheering you on, I can't make it. I'm busy. I got other things to do, so I'm not present. Or I am present, but I'm showing up mean and surly and feeling some type of way because here we go again. He or she gets all the accolades and all the honor and all of this, and what about me? And so I start living my life by comparison, and this is the challenge. Why am I comparing myself to my partner when my partner and I are on the same team? I don't need to be my spouse because I have my spouse. Does that make sense? So if there are natural gifts, talents, and abilities or skills that he or she has developed that I am benefiting from, we're not competing. We're on the same team. So I need to celebrate your wins as if they are my own. But if we don't do marriage, from a sense of oneness. And if we live a very Dutch life, you got your bills, I got my bills, you have your expenses, I have my expenses, you have your this, I have my that. We keep life separate. We go half on bills, half on home, like half. Now I could see foundationally why things are problematic, and I would feel some type of way when your bank account keeps getting bigger and I'm struggling to pay my bills and I don't have anything in my savings account, because we're not operating as one. There's no oneness in that. And I think that's the element that's missing in many marriages today. There is no oneness. So the Bible says a man shall leave his father and mother, cleave unto his wife. The two shall become one. We're merging together all of our things to become one. So when we become one, I inherit your credit, good or bad. I inherit your debt. I inherit your savings and investments. I inherit it all, because we are now operating as one. Because we have one bedroom, so we should have one bank account. We may have two different careers, but these two careers that we are now functioning in is for a greater purpose. So what I do as an individual, what you do as an individual, should contribute to the collective whole. But when it does not, because we don't have that philosophy, it's easy for us to feel envy and jealous of each other's achievements, because it serves one and not the collective whole. Another reason why we find people get jealous of their spouse, maybe they feel jealous about the attention and the affection that they may receive. Now, think about it. Some people may be more social. Others may be introverts. So you've got a friend group. I don't really have a lot of friends. I'm just not that person. I don't really connect. I don't get on the phone. But I see that your friends love you. You having great conversations, I'm feeling some type of way. Why don't you spend some time with me? Why are you always with your friend? Like, I'm now envious of the group and the social connections that you have. Maybe you have a pleasing personality. Maybe you have traits. Maybe you have more of an outgoing disposition, which has allowed that to happen. But now I'm feeling some type of way. The affection and the attention that you get from the kids, it seems like they love you. They come to you with conversations and they don't come to me. I'm feeling some type of way. So now something is brewing on the inside of me. I begin to feel envious and jealous. And there's a bitterness and a resentment that I can't get rid of. What about emotional needs? Emotional needs are another one. If a spouse feels emotionally supported and understood, not just by me, not just by our kids, not just by your friends, but by the world, and I don't seem to have that same type of dynamic in my life, it can create envy. Or maybe I keep on giving and giving and giving to you. You keep receiving and receiving and receiving, but don't offer anything back in return. It's not reciprocal. We're not both contributing in the way that I thought that we would. I'm showing up for you, but I don't feel like you're showing up for me. So now you're fulfilled, but now I feel emotionally deprived. And maybe I don't verbalize it, but I sit in it and it festers and it makes me feel some type of way. And because of that, I begin operating in passive aggressive behaviors. And now I start backing up because envy has consumed me. I want what you have because I don't have it. Envy goes a step further. Not only do I want what you have, I don't want you to have what you have. Why? It's not fair. So you shouldn't have it. If I don't have it, then none of us have it. See? Envy. Envy is ugly. They say jealousy is the green-eyed monster. Envy and jealousy are cousins. They kind of go together. They're clustered together. And the idea of being jealous of a spouse, envious of a spouse, is insane. But it's also an indication that there is not a healthy foundation. Don't you know that there are literally spouses who are envious of their partner because of their physical ability, their physical traits, their physical beauty, their body, their physique? We see this happen all the time. One person just may be a very attractive person, whether they're male or female, right? Just genetically, God just blessed them with appeal and beauty, and the world sees it and the world knows it. But for you, maybe you don't perceive yourself as attractive as your spouse. And so now you're jealous and envious that they have some natural thing that's beyond their control, and you're struggling to, in essence, feel good about yourself. So once again, you're looking through lenses of comparison. You two go to the gym. Why is it so easy for you? Why do you just lose weight the way that you do it? I'm struggling over here. Why is it that you can form and shape your body and have the physique that you have, and I'm still struggling with this and with that? It makes me feel some type of way. So I can't celebrate you for the accomplishment that you made in the gym and how you beautify yourself and how you make yourself look handsome. I feel some type of way, so I don't compliment, right? I don't acknowledge. Right? And all I do is sit in my own pool, my cesspool of sickness and sadness, because I don't like what's going on inside of me. So sometimes my issue with you has nothing to do with you. My issue with you has everything to do with me, because I don't feel good about myself, because I am not where I want to be. I can't form my lips to acknowledge what you've done. Because every time I look at you, it's a reminder of what I failed to do, or what I struggle to do, or what's hard for me, and why is it so easy for you? It's just not fair. Envy is a killer to intimacy in a relationship. Envy can also look like the way that we parent creates problems. Why is it that you have a better relationship with the kids than I do? Why is it that there's always laughter and conversation and giggling, but when I come into it's a problem? Why? Why am I envious of the way that you parent, the way that you discipline, the fact that you're friends with the kids, or friendly, right? Why is it that when you come in, there's a level of wisdom in how you handle things, and things seem to work out, but with me, it doesn't work out? Now I'm envious. So rather than celebrating your parenting skills and allowing us to come together and for me to learn from you, or for you to handle certain situations that I have no problem with, now I feel some type of way because the kids go to you instead of me, and now I'm pouting in a corner because of my inability or an inadequacy to show up as a parent. So it creates envy. And so envy oftentimes breeds resentment and bitterness. And number 3, competition. There's nothing worse than feeling like you are in competition with your spouse. It is a horrible feeling when you're competing with your spouse and you know it. So we're going to be talking about competition as a result of the envy that you have within that relationship. Listen, I hope you're getting something. This is a part of the love series. Why are we talking about envy and love? Because the scripture clearly says that love does not envy. And so if envy exists in your relationship, it means that you are not operating in love. It doesn't mean that you do not love your spouse, but you are not acting in the behaviors of love. And now it's time to adjust our behaviors to the thought or the feeling that we think we have for our spouse, so that they can receive the love that we're trying to offer them. Listen, you're watching the Couples Academy show. Stay tuned. We're going to a quick commercial and we will be right back.
Hello, my name is Frank, and this is my wife, Ronielle Sanders. We're from Houston, Texas, and I just got to say that before this intensive session that we had here, we were pretty much done with our marriage. I was in adulterous affairs, multiple affairs. My wife found out. I was lost. We were on our way to heading down the road for divorce. This course has really got to the root of the issues that we had in our marriage, in my personal walk, my personal life, it's really, really helped me dig deep and find some good tools to help move forward and pursue happiness in our marriage.
When Frank first told me about the 3-day course, the intensive, I really was skeptical. I was at the point that I was done. So we were not living together. And so when I talked to Mr. Hassani, I told him that I wasn't sure if I was going to come, back into the marriage. But I'm really grateful for this experience. And so I just want to say, if you're thinking about it, do it, because it gave a whole different perspective. It had me look at some things on my side, his side. It actually had him to see what I was going through, see the hurt that I was experiencing. It also allowed us to kind of we are going to work towards putting our marriage back together. And when I got here, that was not in my intention. But the tools and the work that we got here, I really believe that it will allow us to begin to heal our marriage, and it'll be stronger to the point where we can help others.
Every time I see that couple, I smile because I see where they are today in the amazing work that they're doing, not just within their marriage, but what they're doing in the world and how they're impacting others. And when you're in crisis, it's hard to find purpose. It's hard to understand what God has called us to do as a couple. But when you begin to enter into alignment, and you've overcome the pain and you're experiencing the pleasure and you tap into that purpose, there are amazing things that you can do as a couple. What is waiting for you that you have yet to step into because you're still in a state of emotional turmoil? So reach out to Couples Academy. Let's see how we can help you. Click the link below. Reach out to the number that you see in the description, and let's see how we can serve you. Now, we're talking about envy and how that shows up in a relationship and what that looks like, and how it oftentimes leads to competition. And one of the things that we see between couples is that there's this tendency to always have to one-up each other, right? So once again, I'm not going to speak to what you did because I'm feeling some type of way. Now I feel like I got to go harder in the paint. I got to prove my value and my worth. I got to let you know that, yeah, okay, you did nice, but I got something too. And so I've got to compete with you. And I need to be recognized, and I need to be held, I need to be honored and celebrated and to become a trophy. You need to see what I bring to the table. And so rather than realizing that we are Team Pettiford or Team Smith or Team Brown or whatever it is, and we need to work together, we work against each other. Now, I've seen this. Now, you may not actually see this in a game, but oftentimes when cameras are allowed into practice, no matter what the sport is, sometimes you see the rivalry and the competition and the venom between athletes and how they show up. And they have to handle these things because when they hit stage, when they hit the court, when they hit the field, when they get into that game, they can't allow their differences to get in the way. And couples oftentimes allow these differences to get in the way. And being a selfish, self-centered athlete says, whether we win or lose, all I care about are my stats. How many touchdowns did I get? How many layups did I make? How many catches did I make? Like, it's all about me. And that's what happens in a relationship. And what happens is when couples operate in that particular way, they accomplish far less. And I've said this before. I know couples who literally collectively make far less, but do so much more than couples who make more. Because they are not in alignment. They don't have a shared goal, a shared vision, that working towards a particular thing. They keep things very separate. And it's just like, well, I guess we're not doing that because we can't agree. Like, it's insane. What are you married for? There should be benefits and privileges that come along with I do. And other people are operating in it, but you aren't, because there's some internal stuff that you have not dealt with, or some relational dynamics that you refuse to get the help on, and it keeps you stuck And listen, where you should be as a couple should be far beyond where you currently are. And you got to learn how to get out of your own way. We compete for attention and affection with each other and with others. Competition shows up and it's a real thing. We compare win-loss ratios, how we succeeded and how we failed, without acknowledging the things that you've succeeded at. I've got to pull up all the things that you struggled with, you stumbled over, you failed at, so that I can feel better about myself. So I don't need to edify you. I go on a mission to tear you down, so it makes me feel less bad about myself. If my issue is I can't control my emotions and my anger, I got to point out any little thing you do, and I've got to maximize it and make it worse than it really is so that I don't feel as bad about my own issues. So I minimize my stuff, maximize your stuff, and it makes me feel like, okay, even. And that's the problem. This level of competition will destroy the intimacy in your relationship. We see competition when it comes to parent rivalries. Happens all the time. And so now we have this tug of war where we're pulling at each arm of a child and they feel split between mom and dad, not knowing which way to turn, feeling confused, and then blaming themselves for the turmoil that their parents are in because of the issues that they have within their relationship. And competition ultimately leads to emotional withdrawal. And emotional withdrawal takes place, physical withdrawal takes place, and when there is this wedge, this gap, this disparity in their alignment, that's when other people, other things can creep in and cause further damage. Guys, this is not what love looks like. This is not what God intended. You need to understand that oneness solves the problem. We are one. So when you win, I win. In addition to us being one and that being the new philosophy, it has to show up not just in our mindset, but in practical ways where we merge things together. But it also means that I've got to work on myself because there are some things within me, some fears, some anxieties, some inadequacies, some insecurities that I've brought into this relationship or were birthed within this relationship. And until I address those things, this will always be a problem. This is why we say the key to your marital restoration, come on, say it with me, is your personal transformation. That when you become the best version of yourself, it impacts your marriage. And if you realize that jealousy and envy is something you struggle with, maybe you don't want to say it out loud because to admit it makes you look some type of way. But you know in your heart of hearts who you are. You know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to you. If that's your struggle, take that thing to God. Take that thing into counseling. Have an authentic, real conversation with your spouse and deal with it so it doesn't destroy the foundation of your union and your future. Guys, we're talking about love, what it is, what it isn't. Hopefully this conversation was helpful for you today. Sit down with your partner and talk about this, because if you can have an authentic, real conversation and get the help you need, you can release the brakes that you've placed on yourself and you could take the journey into your destiny. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. Have a great day.